I think ice cream is very much one of those products that is a beloved product, a beloved American product. Not everybody eats it, but most people dabble in it at some degree. Communities can host a ice cream store. That's just one of the things that I think is a community foundation, much like you might have a cafe or an espresso bar, or coffee store, or a bakery. I think it falls along those lines. So when we opened up our first store in Lincoln Park, the community really came out and was just like, oh, we really have been waiting for an ice cream store. And we did start to see regular customers. And again, there are ice cream places, there's a Culver's and there's Dairy Queen, and those are great. I eat there, right? We're just a different type of store, and we have a different appeal for a different group of people that we're meeting in the community. Pretty much my whole adult life, I wanted to own a business at some point, and I've toyed around with a lot of different business ideas since I was, I don't know, maybe in my 20s. Um, and I really, over time, got really into gardening and food. I love to farm. I love small scale farming, hobby farming, and also just working with different types of plants. Really got into perennials and natives. And so I was trying to think of a business where I could incorporate food and plants into some sort of product. And long story short, ice cream kind of came up at the top. And so I started just making ice cream using some of the ingredients from our hobby farm up the North Shore. I was just using store-bought creams and milks at the time. Over a series of 3 to 4 years, I started making ice cream and having my neighbors try it. I found a dairy who was willing to partner with me and develop a mix. And again, started like selling ice cream at small events and farmers markets. A friend of mine helped me create an ice cream cart that I could tow behind my VW Bug and do little pop-ups in the summers. And really, that's sort of how it started. It just to kind of became a little bit of an experiment and went on to be what it is today. Some of my early batches, when it started to get more complicated and add other ingredients, I had some things that were hard as a rock. I had things that were icy. I had things with big clumps of chocolate in it where people were like, what is this? And then of course, learning how to source chocolates and vanillas, all sustainably, but also just the fat contents in them. They all impacted the early batches. And a lot of that was just reading and, just trial and error. I did attend the Penn State University of Ice Cream Making early on, even like 2010, I think. That was a little bit more advanced for where I was at in the journey. So probably today I'd glean more from it. And that was more commercial at the time. They now do a lot more small batch kind of creative artisan kind of things. But so I would say that the earliest batches went from amazing to throw in the trash right away. Ice cream making can be very complex. It can be very simple. We try to keep it on the simple side because I have gone into this venture with the goal of having very clean ice cream. So we try and not to use any additives, what people call fillers, some people stabilizers, but there's natural stabilizers. So I'll just say that we try to keep our ingredients as minimal as possible. The ingredients, when you read them, you pretty much know what they are. And each flavor has a lot of love put into it. Partnering with local is if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be walking the talk at all. So from finding a dairy to a local dairy, our dairy's in Forest Lake, and that's the closest dairy that would partner with us to make our mix, which is cream, milk, sugar, and eggs. And then anytime that we can partner, whether it's the local farms to get berries, Farm Lolo to get our honeyberries, Sweetland Farm to get blueberries. We work with a number of farms in Fayfield, and then we have a farm too, so we also grow some things, just not enough. We just did a community rhubarb exchange, so people could bring in rhubarb and then get pints of ice cream in exchange. And we got over 450 pounds that way, which is a fun way for the community to get involved and also just live our values of being a good community member. And then, of course, we just partner with like Duluth Coffee when utilize their coffee, and we have an espresso brownie flavor right now. Maple syrup from Simple Gifts, Bees D's honey from Brainerd. We look for local first, and then if we can't find it local, sustainability is at the decision-making process. I have to say that during COVID was the one time we really saw the love of the community for our business. That happened within 18 months of us opening our doors. We were still like learning how to, I was still learning how to run a business. I thought, oh my gosh, this will be it. This is going to shut us down. We are not going to be here when this is over, if this is over. One thing I did is I pivoted and I put a walk-up window because we couldn't have people inside. People lined up and they bought ice cream, pints of ice cream, like 30 pints of ice cream. And they were just saying, we want you to be here when this is over, so we're going to help you get through this. It was really heartening. And it didn't just happen for like 4 days, right? It happened day after day after day after day. And then with the loyalty cards, people can redeem. We're a very generous loyalty program, and people can redeem ice cream for lots of different things. And people weren't even taking the redemptions. They're like, no, we want you to be here. We're going to pay for our products. And then my favorite flavors. So, I mean, mine change all the time. My new favorite flavor will be the flavor that we're making now. That might be a new flavor. Historically, I'm a mint chocolate chip. The mint chocolate chip is definitely my traditional favorite. And I love our buttermilk vanilla. Like, that is my go-to. Like, I usually have a buttermilk vanilla in my freezer. Then I love our salted honey. I love anything with the salts. So you see a lot of salts here because I'm actually a savory person versus sweet. So I love the sweet savory. I love our honey lavender. That's just really great. And then anything with a tartness, like a lemon, anything, a lime, anything, a grapefruit. We make a lot of different curds that we'll put in. Those are always really good.
And you were thinking about names. How did Love Creamery win the name competition?
Yeah, so my partner in crime came up with that. So I was making ice cream, and his name is Joe. And, I was starting this business, and I had to name it. And I just thought, hey, Joe, can you come up with a name that embodies what you see I'm doing? Like between the farm and creating all these products and going out with the community. And he just said, oh, I think it's Love Creamery. It's like you put love in everything you do. From the very beginning of just planting those batches of plants of we planted a bunch of blueberries and raspberries and strawberries and rhubarb to mint, to just working on getting our cart together and giving samples to the community. So that's really how it came up, and I was like, great, that's what we'll name it. Ice cream has a place in the community, but the community's also found a place for us.